Okay, hi everybody. I am so happy to welcome Bhanu Chelluri here today, and she is a participant in the Healing Circle 2022. Welcome, Bhanu. Thank you for coming here and sharing your experiences about Healing Circle 2022. Just before we get started, I just want to share what were the topics that we did. Let me quickly share my screen. Um, Okay, so this is what we did this year. So we started out with releasing your feelings. February, March, and April, we talked about releasing anger and resentment, releasing depression and fear, eating habits and emotions. And then we talked about loving ourselves, May, June, and July. And how can I love myself, loving the inner child, and learning to grow old gracefully. The third major theme of the year was moving beyond pain, and under that, we talked about understanding our physical pain, working with grief and loss. And then we talked about forgiveness is the key to freedom. And finally, we ended the year with the theme of loving others. The subtopics were connecting with parents and ancestors, and finally, connecting with our children. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And thank you again, Banu, for coming and sharing your thoughts and experiences. The whole idea is, as you share, people might be interested in learning more about the Healing Circle, and then they might choose to come in again next year in 2023. I'm hoping that they do come because we all benefited. I benefited too as participating in the Healing Circle. And Healing Circle was a discussion group of all like-minded women talking about these topics and sharing everybody's insights, not just my own, but everybody shared their insights. And so over to you, Banu. What was your takeaway from the Healing Circle 2022?
Thank you, Lata. It has been wonderful actually knowing you and interacting with you. And I want to give a little compliment to Lata personally. I think my computer, Lata, you are a highly bubbly person with a lot of love in you, and that radiates in your healing circle sessions. I think that is one of the important ingredients or important elements of healing. And I think that's why I think your sessions are useful, enjoyable, and communicative. That's my personal compliment to you. And as far as the sessions go, in general, I enjoyed all the sessions, but in particular, the session, I think it's a second one, loving yourself, just the sessions concerned, all are very useful at some level or other. And especially for me, the second one, loving yourself, I found it, I learned a lot, and it was very useful for me in practicing. And the very last session of connecting with grandparents and ancestors and children, and I thought I learned a lot from that session too. And it doesn't mean that I didn't benefit from the first and third. They are useful too. I think some as you know that this group is made up of people of different ages and different backgrounds, and really a wide variety of people from wide variety of backgrounds and nurturing they were under when they were kids. So the problems are very different for each one of us. And so then the session need is different too. What you benefit from the session is different too. So in my case, second and fourth ones were very useful. doesn't mean one and three are not any less.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhanu. That is great feedback. And I'm glad you love the loving yourself and loving others sessions. I think that's generally the hot favorite with most people. And I feel that loving yourself is one area and one topic that everybody will benefit from, because the moment you start bringing love into our lives, healing automatically happens. So love is like the panacea for all problems. I believe that very sincerely, and I'm sure that you would have found that as well, as you heard from those sessions and you started practicing. So can you share with everyone what was the format that we followed as part of the healing circle, and how was the discussion, just for a listener to get deeper understanding of what actually happens in a healing circle?
Healings in the healing circle session, typically Lata organizes, with the input from all the participants. She selects the number of topics, and then each session focuses on one given topic. And then what happens is, during the topic, there's a X number of slides are prepared with the core information on the topic. And Lata basically, coach Lata basically goes through those key salient features of the topic, and then gets always had enough time in between to for questions and feedback from the participants. And then at the end of, not at the end, somewhere in the middle, we break up into different sessions. And in the sessions, typically 2 of the participants randomly are put in touch with each other. And then we discuss in general what our personal experience has been and how we followed the path or processes Lata has suggested. And one thing I want to emphasize or point out is, when we all gathered first time in the healing circle, everybody was little apprehensive to open up, and we were all kind of guarding ourselves what to say, what not to say. I would say, like past middle of the year, teams started feeling very comfortable that nobody is there to judge others. However, they're sharing their take on the issue so that others can benefit. So even the people who are rarely very shy and won't talk, some of the participants I know who are pretty quiet in general, they also started opening up and talking. And of course, Lata will very judiciously observes everybody and calls their names to give a feedback. That's very helpful too. So team really got very comfortable with each other. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning, each one is coming from different background and different problems and different setup, different age group, different culture. So the problems are so wide and different, but at the end, it turns out that the solutions are very related. And that's a beautiful thing. And also as a participant, it does help to know that, hey, I have a problem, but somebody else's problem is much bigger or worse than mine. So, empathizing, it not only gives you processes and tools for your own improvement, it also gives you higher capacity for empathy. What is that? Empathizing with others' issues.
Absolutely. You have pointed it out so beautifully. I think that's the advantage of a group setting like the Healing Circle, which brings in ladies of different backgrounds, different age groups together, is that we not only realize that there are different people have different problems, but they might also have similar kind of problems. But we also have developed that kind of empathy or the spirit to give, to listen, and to be there for one another. And I just want to add to what you said. In addition to the format that we mentioned, we also had the buddy system where we used to split up. And in addition to the group timings, which we would meet twice a month, in addition to that, the buddies would talk to each other over a phone conversation every other week. And that helped strengthen that support system, because that is the main goal of the healing circle, to create like a support system for ladies and for women, and to help them know that it is not, that you're not alone, that no matter what you're going through, that we can all be support each other and get through this together. So that was fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Bhanu. And we also had a lot of fun in other ways. We had activities. We had some kind of brainstorming sessions. And we shared stories, we saw videos. So there was a bunch of things that would happen in the Healing Circle platform.
Yeah, or in other words to put it, it is a truly healing circle, in the sense that people didn't go off heavy after the session. It was nice, and we had fun and laughter and helped each other and heard each other. And so it is amazingly, I would say, healing effect, in its own sense. I don't remember any time going back, returning from the session and saying, oh my God, what a load it is to do these things, or never felt heavy like that, heavy heart. It was always lightening after the thing. At the same time, a good message to carry through.
Thank you, Bhanu. Yeah, I agree with you totally. The Healing Circle had a healing effect. It was therapeutic in nature, and you felt that lightness, and whatever heavy heart or whatever tension we came to with when we entered the session, by the time we left the session, we were feeling far more relaxed, lighter, and we felt that we were not alone. I think that was the biggest benefit of coming to the Healing Circle. So, what do you think were your personal benefits in attending these sessions through the year? Did you notice any changes in your own life? Were you able to practice any particular thing? And if so, can you share a little bit more?
Yes, definitely. I think I learned a lot about how self-love is important, and also the message I took from the sessions is, I need to first change myself to encounter the situation that is presented to me, instead of expecting change from others. It's much easier to change myself, and also how to make myself calmer and not react to a situation as much as possible, but how to collect myself, think, and act on it in a much more calmer way for a given, even when the situation is very hostile, or sometimes other person is highly anxious or angry or fearful. It's very easy to react and turn the person down, saying, hey, stop it, or don't do that, or something. I'm talking only in terms of adults. This can be very applicable to children also, but I'm talking in terms of adult children, and it's generally very hard to communicate with adult children, but sometimes silence is golden. But there are situations where you do want to give your input, and sometimes in the crux of the situation, that time reaction from my side is not very helpful. So I do practice. I did practice, or still practice, some of the meditative techniques, and also, think through. I think I kind of became much more thinking and patient with a given situation.
Oh, that's wonderful. It looks like you've had a lot of benefits. You mentioned that you've been practicing more of self-love. And then you mentioned also that you started taking more responsibility for what is happening. And you've taken a decision that no matter what is happening, you will try to work within by changing yourself. And you've also started being more calmer and more relaxed. And these are all great benefits, just wonderful benefits too. And practically applying that with adult children, with other adults in your life, it's not easy. Actually, while you say all these things, these are things that all of us can benefit to. I know I have been also trying to practice all of these, and I know over the years, learning how to be calm and learning how to take responsibility, and practicing self-love, all these are all big areas of self-transformative practice that all of us can benefit in. So thank you. That's wonderful that you have been able to practice and you have seen benefits in your own life. Anything else that you want to share about the healing circle? How did you find the meditations? Maybe you can talk a little bit about, because we start every healing circle with a meditation. Sometimes there's another meditation through the course of the workshop, and it's 1 hour. Every time we meet, it's for an hour or so. Sometimes we just run over by another 10 minutes, but it's approximately an hour. And how did you find the meditations to be?
Yeah, typically, I think we started with the meditative session and ended with the meditative session. I think that's what was happening. And meditations, I do try to do meditation. So I found it very useful. And Lata is, in addition to just a healing circle, she's also you have a very nice techniques with hypnosis. So the meditative sessions were all really hypnotic. I think she combined meditative techniques to bring about hypnotic effect. So if you really came in little early, not jumped into the session and kind of relaxed little bit, it was nice way of starting meditation techniques and just making that 1 hour for yourself and not getting interrupted and enjoying the whole process is very therapeutical, and I think it's the nice thing about sessions are difference between Lata sessions and what do you call this counseling or something. I don't know whether you want me to say that, but there you end up talking a lot, and here you do a lot of introspection, and I think this is a different way of understanding the problem you have. You are thinking a lot of introspection of and use the processes that are given to you to sort out, see the effect. And I would say these are not easy things to do because accumulated over the years, and did a lot of mistakes in making the problems or creating the problems. So getting rid of the problem or issue takes a lot of dedicated effort. And I think that's how I take it. And the meditative sessions, I enjoy them. And I think that's a nice way to start, in my opinion.
Thank you, Bhanu. Thank you. And I totally agree with you about the introspection and awareness. Actually, even in my one-on-one sessions, when I do anxiety coaching with my clients, this is one thing that I tell people, that awareness is 50% of the solution. Because, and it's the same thing even when you go in a medical field, you go to a doctor, you go with a problem. The moment the doctor has diagnosed the problem correctly, 50% of the problem is already solved, because the rest is all about medication and whatever else follow up that the doctor recommends, right? So even in mental health, that's the same thing, that when we are aware of what's going on within, when we are aware of what kind of thoughts we are having, when we are aware of what our problem really is, it's like 50% of the solution. And you're bang on right when you say that when we do introspection, it's difficult, it's not easy. But the moment you start doing that, you have more clarity about what's going on. And then in a supportive environment, it's much more easy to help yourself and heal yourself. Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Bhanu. As a final ending point, I just wanted to ask you, do you recollect any funny stories or any inspirational moments in the healing circle? Any one particular session that you strikes out and it's been like a lightning thing to you that you want to share with others?
I think funny or lightning or memorable, which one you want?
Anything, any one of the things. Yeah.
Fun part is like all the ladies sitting and chatting before the session started, which is totally, I know few of them. I would say now I know most of them. I mean, few of us came in from previous friendship, and so we all used to catch up. It was like catching up session. And we're glad to see, I think we were looking forward to seeing each other, including Lata, every fortnight. And I think my the recollection, I mean, there are many nice moments. One of the recollections is your meditation of how to ground oneself. I think that's a very nice one and useful one. You taught how to breathe in and breathing out. You anchor it to the ground. And I think I could actually, I think most of your meditations are a lot of visualizations. And I took away some of those as useful tools, which I do throw into the mix whenever it's necessary. In general, I think I started more improved myself in looking into myself quite a bit. And also, even in the most busy time like now, I still I don't have much time for meditation, but I enjoy just going off and being away in silence myself, my space for 10 minutes. And most of the time, I get answers during those 10 minutes if there are any issues. So I think that's all coming from coaching and healing circle.
That's wonderful. And that's exactly my core belief, that all of us have answers within ourselves. The moment we clear the cobwebs of our mind and we are able to connect to the wisdom of our heart, we are able to find our own solutions, get our own internal intuitive guidance coming on a daily basis. That's wonderful. And we also, I think we used to do recordings of the sessions, and I shared recordings after the healing circle, in case some of you have not been able to attend. And you have the recordings for the meditations as well, which you can access it as often as you want. So we had 22 sessions during the course of this year 2022. And that means we have 22 definite recordings of meditation, sometimes even more than 22, I think almost 30 to 35 meditations recordings we have. So that we have so much of availability of resources that is given to all the participants, so that we can continue using these resources offline as well. Yeah, and Bhanu, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So as a final word, do you want, what is a message do you want to give to prospective listeners who would like, who might be interested in joining the Healing Circle in 2023?
Yeah, I would. I think it's a valuable resource. I think one has to practice themselves, but there are methods offered for, and these are the methods that actually help each individual to find whatever, identify their issues, and think about the problem and how to solve the problems, on their own, and also how to interact. Of course, next semester, Lata was saying next year she's going to do new topics. And one of the topics which I'm weak is boundary setting. And I would love to see what are the techniques out there, because it's always very hard when you are especially not a very tough person. So I think my take on is I highly recommend. It's a very different process, I think, than therapy and counseling. You actually go back with some processes and tools that you can use and derive the benefit of how to go about.
Awesome. Thank you, Bhanu. That's wonderful. And boundary setting is one of the topics, and there's a couple more other topics I will definitely share in the upcoming weeks with everyone. What are the topics we are going to do for 2023? But this was just wonderful. Thank you so much, Bhanu, for coming and sharing your valuable feedback and your experience with Healing Circle 2022. And it was so much of fun having you in the Healing Circle and having everybody as well. I think for me, my biggest benefit is that I am a co-learner. I never think of myself as, somebody who's teaching something, but I am learning as I am sharing with all of you. And it was such a loving, supportive environment for me as well. And all of you have been giving me so much of love, and we have been so supportive of the process that I have been sharing. And I've been learning as well as I prepare. I am also trying to practice, and I'm benefiting equally, if not more, as part of the Healing Circle. So it was really so much of fun having all of you there, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. And we all benefited. It's fun, and we are looking forward to the next session. I think whomever is interested, I think I highly recommend, and it's a valuable resource out there. And especially